Today I'm going to tell you an interesting story about the life of Saint Rose of Lima. Saint Rose is also known as the patron saint of florists, gardeners, and in Latin America. She was born on April 20th, 1586 in Lima, Peru, and her birth name was Isabella Flores de Oliva. According to some accounts, she was known to have a beautiful face, and her beauty was so captivating that anyone who glanced at her couldn't look away. By the time she was 5 years old, she started her devotion and wanted to dedicate her entire life to God. Inspired by stories of Saint Catherine of Siena, she longed to live a life of purity, sacrifice, and service. Later, her beauty attracted many admirers, and her parents hoped she would marry a wealthy man. But she was determined to devote her life to God alone. To discourage attention, she cut off her hair short and would even rub pepper on her face to make herself less attractive. She also helped care for the sick and the poor, especially indigenous people who were often mistreated in colonial society. At 15, she pledged a vow of virginity and later became a member of the Third Order of Saint Dominic, where she prayed and performed intense sacrifices. She would even wear a crown of silver thorns to emulate the sacrifice of Jesus, which truly manifested her deep devotion and spirituality. She would also go for days without eating and offered her fasting for the conversion of sinners. Many people thought she was too extreme to herself, but she believed her sacrifices brought her closer to Jesus. Later, she started to have mystical visions, and everyone around her believed she had moments of spiritual ecstasy. In some accounts, people witnessed her levitating while she was meditating. Others also said that when she prayed, they saw her face radiate a heavenly bright light, even though she was in a dark room with a few lighted candles. This made them believe how profound her relationship with God was. Although she was true to her devotion and sacrifices, many thought she had gone crazy and would even ridicule her for her spirituality. But she never listened to them, and she always believed that her sufferings are for the salvation of souls. In her early 30s, her health began to decline because of her extreme fasting. On August 24, 1617, Rose happily passed away at the age of 31 years old. After she died, her story spread all over her town, and people flocked to her tomb to offer prayers and petitions. It was also here that miracles happened and prayers were granted through her intercession, making her one of the most favorite saints in Latin America. Years later, when her body was exhumed, they found it incorrupt. In 1671, Pope Clement X canonized her as a saint, and she became the firstborn saint in the Americas. Today, the remains of her body are kept inside the Basilica and Convent of Santo Domingo in Peru. She is also venerated as the patron saint of florists, gardeners, and in Latin America. Her feast day is celebrated every 23rd of August. If you like stories like this, support us, follow, like, and subscribe.